Hello and welcome. My name is Jess and you're listening to Legaltini, your very own sip of law school. The goal of this podcast is to give you just a taste of what it's like going to law school. Whether you're already in school, considering it, have a loved one currently experiencing the fun that is law school, or you just want to follow my journey, I'm so glad you're here. You can also follow me on Instagram at Legaltini_podcast and check out my website, Legaltini.com. And if you enjoy the podcast, don't forget to rate and review below. Grab your Legaltini and let's take a sip. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Legaltini. Very excited to have you here, and I'm very excited about what I have today. So today, I want to talk about motivation and how to get that back, time-sucking black holes and how to avoid them, and also, quickly at the end, my 2 favorite secrets about time and how those help me to be more productive and get more stuff done faster. Okay, first of all, motivation. That new car smell for the semester is gone. It is time now to really dig in and grind, but where did all my motivation go? And how do I keep the momentum when I kind of just really want to take a nap? We've talked about this before, so we had a plan for this. It is time to pull out that why. The statement that you wrote before the semester started, we need to revisit that and the whole reason that you're putting yourself through this in the first place. I don't know what your why is, only you know that. And if you have your why already written out, great, find it, read it carefully. Put it in a place that you are going to see it regularly, whether that is rewriting it into several places, sticking it on your bathroom mirror, putting it in your planner, putting it wherever you're going to see it regularly. Put it somewhere that's going to kind of, oh yeah, there it is. You know, it's like going to surprise you a little bit when you see it, so you can continuously remind yourself of why you're doing this and what the whole point is in the first place. If you never got around to writing it out, you did think about it, but maybe you didn't write it and you just thought you would remember it, or maybe you didn't even consider it. Do it now. Write it digitally, on paper, on a napkin, whatever you have available. It's going to take a little bit more work now to write out your why because you're already in the middle of the challenge, but it's still worth it. And it'll have the same effect as looking back on it now. It's just going to be a little bit challenging perhaps to get to that root why, and if you're feeling a little bit of burnout, that might be tough. But back to recalling why our why is so important and what we wrote out at the beginning of the semester. So first, looking backwards in time, remember the place you were at when you wrote it? So happy and free and go lucky. Remember that feeling of excitement and anticipation? You didn't know what was going to happen. You didn't know what it was going to be like. You probably felt nervous about things that now you do daily without even thinking about them. There are so many steps that you've taken. You are so much further along into your goal than when you wrote this out. And that's amazing. Pat yourself on the back for the distance that you've come. You're incredible. But take a moment to appreciate that person and what they were going through and what they were thinking and feeling and fearing. Take a minute to appreciate that because that felt really big at the time, and now you're in such a different space because there's so much more that you know and that you've come across so far. And so I think recognizing how far you've come is part of really holding on to that motivation, because at some point in the semester, I think we all feel a little bit like, oh my gosh, where's the light at the end of the tunnel? And we kind of forget that we've done so much and we've come so far. So don't lose sight of the progress that you've already made. And also don't get discouraged if you're kind of in it right now and you're feeling really bogged down and really stressed out. Don't let that be your only reality right now, because the truth is, if you're going through something really tough like law school or, hard jobs, things like that, it's going to be hard and you're not going to feel like every day is your best day. And so if you're going through a time right now where you're really feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this and I don't know if I am able to really push through how tough this is, let yourself off the hook just a little bit and know that this hard thing is meant to be hard. This is not meant to be easy. This is not something that, if it was easy, so many more people would do it and it would be so much more common, and then it wouldn't be as amazing as a feat as what it's going to be. So allow yourself to feel what you're feeling and know that it is acceptable to not always be feeling so successful and so on top of your game. It's okay. And that's what conversations like this are about, is regaining that momentum and figuring out how we can push through these really, really tough times. So first, we want to look back and see who we were and where we were and all of that kind of before all of this started. And then we want to take a bit of a different approach. So shift gears now and look forward instead of backwards. Imagine where you'll be when you're standing on top of this challenge, whatever that challenge might be. For me, it's law school. Imagine looking back at this moment where you regained momentum and you dug deep and you found your focus. Maybe this is the moment that you really got serious about what you're doing. Or it's the moment that you let yourself breathe for a second and feel proud of who you are today. And maybe you treat today like it's the first day of the next year. I hate when people just wait for January 1st to do a New Year's resolution. Treat today like the first day of your next year. And sometimes that mindset really helps me to find energy where I thought I was depleted. So imagine that moment that you graduate or you complete a certain task or a project, and you're looking back at all the things that felt so hard and so big, but you've done them all. Just like settle in that moment. That's an amazing feeling. And you are going to earn every bit of it, but you're still in it now. So before we start thinking too much about, what to wear on graduation day and all of that fun stuff, think about today. And this week, where are you in relation to that future self? There's a lot of work between this Jess and that future Jess. Today is important because it has the ability to set a course for a whole new destination. So how you use today is so important. What direction do you want to go? A positive attitude, or what I like to think of as a growth mindset, can seriously have lifelong effects. There's a book that I read called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and you should check it out. It's linked on my website, and it's also discussed in length in a pod from earlier this year. I think it was from not January. I can't remember when it was from, but I can link it in the bio in case you are interested in learning more about that. So that's what I have on motivation, is looking back, looking forward, and then thinking about today and kind of where you are in relation to that future self and to the past self. Be proud of yourself for what you've accomplished, but also recognize that it sometimes is just time to dig in and do the work, and then you will reap those benefits later. So that's kind of what I want to spend the rest of the podcast talking about, is today and how to sort of take charge of your today. To start, we're going to talk about time-sucking stuff. So now that we are feeling so motivated and energized, don't let that go to waste. Get a plan together and work on it. I want to talk a little bit about things on your calendar that needlessly suck up time. Things like, these aren't probably things on your calendar, but things you do every day, like scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, taking a longer break than you planned for, like a long lunch and you just kind of didn't get back on track soon enough, chatting with your friends instead of focused studying, tidying up your house or apartment when you know full well that you should be studying. Whenever I study at home, I feel like my apartment is suddenly so clean because I am like, I have time, let me just tidy this up and let me just do this. But making sure that my study time is actually intentional and focused, that is the sort of thing that just time sucks every day. So there's an important distinction, though, between taking breaks and letting breaks take you. You control your week and your time. If you need a mental break, obviously you should take one. But don't let a 10-minute break turn into a 45-minute break if you don't have that kind of time. If you really need an extended break, plan for it. Or say, okay, I need an extended break because I'm not focusing and my brain is not on track, then adjust whatever plans you have for that study block or whatever you're working on, and plan for it and really adjust and make it an intentional break instead of feeling guilty the whole time that you're not studying. If you're struggling to get through a block of studying and you're distracted, you should try some new tactics. You should try something else. if you're not getting through your sort of allotted time blocks for studying without, short breaks is fine, but like without a longer break, then either you need to work on your stamina or you need to change something up. Like maybe studying in a different environment than what you've been doing, or trialing different times of day. When I'm at the library and I find my mind starting to wander, instead of falling into the trap of hopping on my phone and scrolling, I try to instead get up and just take a lap, stretch out my legs, my arms, physically move a little bit. I don't have any specific timing for when I take those breaks, but I listen to my body and my mind. If I'm on a roll and I'm staying focused and I'm on task, my body's telling me full steam ahead, let's do this. If I'm not registering what I'm reading and I have to keep rereading a paragraph, or I find myself distracted by everything around me, that's typically my brain showing me that I need a reset. It doesn't mean I need a huge long break, but it's a waste of my time for me to just kind of half read or half focus on what I'm doing. So at that point, I know that my body is telling me, okay, I need 5. So then I'll go take a lap and I'll stretch out, or if I have to run to my locker, or if I need to refill my water bottle, that's a great opportunity to do that. Let me give you a couple ways to kind of practically, like what I do to help take control of my time. So number one is I have a plan. I know I've talked about that a little bit already. And then if you've listened to basically any of my other podcasts, you've probably heard me talking about using a planner or a digital calendar, or what I love, which is Notion, a program that I use. Having a plan, oh my gosh, is the first and most important part of my day. Without a plan, you waste precious time deliberating about what to do next and what you need to do, and thinking about whether or not you've forgotten something that you're supposed to do. If you write everything down and if you keep good lists and you've got organization to your day and to your process, you are going to spend way less time stressing and deliberating. Number two, I have balance in my life. If you don't plan time for yourself to relax, disconnect, giggle with a friend, or call people you love, walk in nature, whatever fills your personal cup, you are going to run yourself ragged and burn out. And believe me, I've done it. It's not fun, and it is hard to recover from. It's not something that you can fix with one weekend of staying in and doing self-care. It can take months, actual months, to recover physically and mentally, and I am not exaggerating. Don't put yourself in that situation if you can avoid it. Burnout is something serious, and stress kills, man. I mean, stress is something that ages you faster. It's going to affect your body, it's going to affect your mind, it's going to affect your relationships. It is a tough thing to overcome. So if you can avoid that by having really good practices initially before you get to that point of, oh my gosh, I'm running ragged, you are going to be in such a better position to sort of combat that. And then third, I also find that if I have my phone on do not disturb, not just like sitting over somewhere where I'm not looking at it, but actually on do not disturb, and I have a plan for what my next longer break is going to be, like a lunch or a dinner or a workout or a walk or something like that, I feel the time pressure of needing to complete a task within a time frame, and my mind just kind of zeroes in a little bit sharper to meet the deadline, and I'm not distracted by what could be going on my phone. There is something about actually putting it on do not disturb that lets my brain say, okay, that's not going to distract me right now. And so when I can focus on the task at hand, my mind is just more efficient and more effective, and it doesn't think about what could be happening on my phone. So let me next share a couple of my favorite time secrets with you. So first, the task you're working on expands to fill the time that you allot to complete it. So if I give myself all day to get something done, like tidy up my kitchen or my house, let's say if I'm just like, I'm going to do it at some point today, I will do bits and pieces as I go, taking my time to complete it. It's not going to be an efficient process. If I give myself 10 minutes in the morning before I leave for class to tidy up my kitchen, man, can I whiz through the kitchen and get it looking pretty decent. Now, if I need to deep clean my kitchen, that won't be accomplished in 10 minutes. But I think the actual time that it should take me to complete the task is about 10 minutes. And so if I allot that time and I say I'm going to do it in this time, I am so much more effective at that task. if I think about how long it should actually take me to deep clean, like maybe an hour, or depending on, I don't know, what appliances I'm wanting to clean or what I'm specifically wanting to do, then, maybe I say it takes an hour. And so then, that's the time that I allot to it. But if I say I'm going to deep clean the kitchen at some point today, I might do the counters, and then I might do the oven, and then I might do the sink, and then I might do the fridge. And it kind of occupies the amount of time that I allow it to. So giving yourself a specific time frame is going to be more effective and efficient than not. Giving myself, in the same vein, giving myself like 2 hours to read a certain number of pages and then creating checkpoints from there, it should be about halfway done by an hour, etc. It'll keep me from letting distractions creep in, and it keeps my mind focused and sharp. If I give myself a specific amount of time to work on something, I move much more quickly, I'm efficient, I feel the pressure of time. And I also learn how long certain tasks actually take, and I can modify my expectations in the future because I know that, okay, it's taking me a little bit longer to do these sorts of tasks. I need to just give myself a little bit more space in my calendar so that it's an accurate representation of what I need to do. Second, those pesky admin, like simple to do tasks take less time than you think. I think we let them occupy so much stress in our brains because we think, oh, it's going to take forever to do that, or I don't want to get all the way into that task and have to, switch over on my computer to something different. But more often than not, we're putting things off, like scheduling a doctor's appointment or putting away laundry or the dishes because we think, I just don't have time. But the truth is we absolutely have the time because those tasks don't take a long time. Once you just jump in and start the task, it's often less than 10 minutes long, sometimes less than 5. If you just go ahead and start, the job gets done faster than you deliberating, honestly, about whether or not you even have time to do it. And plus, when you're getting admin tasks done on time, your mental clutter is going to be reduced considerably. And it leaves you free and clear to go get the stuff done that you actually need to do and that really matters to you. So in summary, all that motivation is still within you. You just have to find it. So go back and find your why. Look to the past, look to the future, look at where you are now in relation to those two realities, and consider what decisions you need to make today and what things you can accomplish today to further your goals and get to where you're going. Make a plan, have balance in your life, avoid burnout at all costs, and be intentional about the time that you're spending and make sure that you are really focused on what you're doing at the time that you're doing it. And then don't forget those 2 little secrets that I shared. Y'all, get after it. You can do this. I'm so proud of you, and I am so excited about all the things that we're doing because we're all incredible people, and that's amazing. That's everything that I have for this week's episode. Thanks so much for chiming in and listening. If you liked this episode, please rate and review it below, and please follow me on Instagram. It's at Legaltini_podcast. Also, check out my website because there's some cool resources on there and some fun stuff for you guys. So check that out. It's legaltini.com. Thanks so much for listening. This has been Legaltini, your very own sip of law school.